Hi guys! So today we have some energy to talk about. Today we have the sun coming into an exact square with Uranus and the north node of the moon currently in a conjunction. Also that means forming a square to the south node of the moon, always in an opposition to the north node, and simultaneously a loose opposition to Saturn as well. So not only do we have the sun forming a square to Uranus today, which is huge in and of itself, expect the unexpected, things happening out of the blue, things happening out of nowhere, sudden shifts, sudden changes, things sort of just all up in the air today, very high speed, fast paced, high anxiety energy. We also have the north node there, sort of amplifying this, also lending a little bit of the hand of God to whatever we have going on. It's very highly fated, destined stuff playing out right now as well. And with the opposition to Saturn, this is also activating the Uranus-Saturn square that has been in effect for the past couple of years. So lots to talk about today, you guys. Big astrology day. Let us get into this chart and see what is playing out for us as we are heading towards actually our full moon in Aquarius that is coming up tomorrow. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the day. If you guys stick with me also till the end of the report, I'm also going to be talking about some tarot that came out in the context of the astrology, just so we can look at the energy today from more than one modality and get more of a well-rounded, holistic viewpoint of what is playing out for us today here on the ground. So let's start with the astrology, you guys. Actually, first of all, I gotta tell you guys, I am so sorry for the background noise and the disruption that you are bound to be experiencing today as we're going through this video. Literally, I was sitting here about to press record on my camera, and these construction trucks literally pulled up right outside of my house to start repaving the road. We had some flooding and water damage over the weekend, and it sort of washed part of a road away. And right now, just as I'm starting to record this video, is the time that the crews have showed up to re-fix the road, and there's no other time that I have to shoot this video. And I'm not set up to shoot it anywhere else, and I feel like I could probably hear this anywhere in my house right now anyways. So I apologize, and I really hope that this ends quickly and doesn't last the whole duration of this video, and I hope it's not too distracting. But it's a Uranus day, it's a Uranus video, so I can't say that I'm entirely surprised. Random stuff happening, that is such so indicative of the aspects that I'm going to be talking about today too as well. Just a random thing happening that's out of our control, that sort of switches things up and changes things up a little and sort of just makes things a little bit weird, but we just got to go with it. We're just going to go with it. So we're going with the construction background noise today. That is our audio theme that's coming through in the background. So my apologies. I just literally, I didn't want to not record the video, and I don't have any other time to do it. So we're getting it done. That being said, let's talk about our day of energy that we have going on. It's likely to be an unusual one. This whole week, though, it's not just today, but today may be a very different type of day all the way around. We may just have different stuff going on today than we usually do. Normally we might have a certain sort of humdrum that our life sort of goes along. We get up at a certain time, we do XYZ activity, we go to our job or do whatever, and then we do this, and then we come home and do this. When we have Uranus very active, a lot of times it has a tendency of just sort of disrupting that pattern. Or it can also bring up feelings within us that cause us to sort of want to do stuff that disrupts that pattern. But a lot of times it's just happening naturally. We will just organically, without even knowing about it, plan something different or unusual or out of the ordinary for the period of time when this aspect is coming into fruition, unconsciously, without even knowing it, because most people don't plan their life around Uranus transits. You know what I mean? Okay, and so it's just that's the type of vibe, that's the type of energy. But there is an extra element of conflict going on today, because we do have this grand cross essentially that is also being activated by this transit as a result of the placement of Saturn. And I feel like, you guys, like this energy is also sort of activating the Saturn Uranus square that has been such a major influence and driving force factor over the past couple years in helping us to sort of break free from a lot of the limitations of our previous experiences and just sort of the structures of our old life, and move forward in this like drastically new way that is trying to bring us back into alignment with our original authenticity, our personal authentic truth. And this is also the aspect that has really been doing a lot to bridge us into the age of Aquarius, because this shift from living a lifestyle where we are more so inclined to kind of like mold ourselves into the expectations or the ideals of the society or the overall group or the overall whole, more like the Pisces paradigm, sort of all schooling together underneath like an overall hierarchy. The age of Aquarius is much different. This is all of us sort of activating our own potential, activating our own like unique individuality, and figuring out how we can contribute that potential to better like the overall whole, the overall group. It is like what's that saying? All for one and one for all. I feel like that is sort of more of like the motto as we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So, okay, let's break it down. Today is a huge day. It's definitely might be a little bit of tricky business playing out. Again, because of this grand cross, especially that's setting up, but we're also talking about the Sun and Uranus coming into a square in fixed signs. Fixed signs create resistance. They're a little more stubborn. They're a little more like willful and just like hard to sort of move and adjust. Not quite so adaptable. It can create even more friction, even more resistance when we're dealing with fixed sign squares. And we're talking about the Sun, we're talking about in the sign of Leo, we're talking about Uranus in the sign of Taurus with the North Node there as well. This is just magnifying this Uranus energy and really creating sort of like a strong compulsive desire to break ourselves free from something that has been limiting us. And again, like I said, I feel like the aspect that is playing out today is actually sort of bringing into context stuff that has been happening over the course of the past 2 years, because of this Saturn Uranus square that is also being activated through this grand cross that's playing out. And also this is heading right into, this aspect is basically still going to be standing for our full moon in Aquarius tomorrow, which is the full moon ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in the square, is going to be in the square to the full moon. Like this, I feel like this is the like a fulcrum point moment right now. And I feel like the things that have been building and coming into fruition and breaking down and shifting over these past 2 years, I feel like we are reaching the point where we're going to start seeing like where this was heading, like where this was leading, like what this was all coming to, like maybe like what this was all about type of things. The past 2 years, the Saturn Uranus square has been the dominant influence, like I said, breaking us free into this age of Aquarius. Saturn rules limitations and structures and forms, and it controls things. It also rules karma, and it rules the sign of Capricorn. And right now we have Pluto also in the very end of Capricorn, finishing his transit through Capricorn. Saturn also rules establishments and governments and authorities and long-standing orders of these things. Right now, there is a breakdown in the previous long-standing orders of power and control throughout, essentially, it's on a microcosm level, it's on a macrocosm level, it's on an internal level, it's on an external level. It has to do with the self-imposed limitations that we create for ourselves through our own belief systems, and a period of time where we are releasing ourselves from those and transcending our own internal limitations. And it also simultaneously, in reflection to that, has to do with essentially like the global controllers and the governments and the establishments and the authorities and the hierarchies of power and control and the priesthood classes of the past paradigm that have structured the world according to a certain format that is no longer enduring and no longer carrying forward as we are transitioning paradigms right now. So there's sort of like two ways that this energy has been playing out. And over the past couple of years, there have been a lot of big shifts, big changes, unexpected things happening that in a lot of cases have totally shifted like seemingly the trajectory of our entire future. And I feel like this period of time, this aspect coming into play right now, this full moon tomorrow, I feel like is marking sort of a turning point, especially with Uranus being in the conjunction to the North Node, the full moon in the square to the nodes. This is the past and the future. This is destiny and karma. This is what we're releasing ourselves from and what we are moving towards. Saturn also rules karma. This is a very karmic lineup that is helping us to, I feel like, transcend, release, move on from, clear, purify ourselves from some of these karmic attachments, karmic burdens, karmic loops of the past, and start really heading in a totally new direction and a totally new trajectory that is in much greater authentic alignment with us, that can lead us to a much greater sense of like purpose and like soul fulfillment. And I feel like things that are transpiring now over the course of this next few weeks, over the course of this next few months, I feel like things are going to start coming into fruition that are giving us an inkling perhaps of where, like I said, like where this may actually be leading us, like what this has actually all been about. Like we might be on the verge of beginning to see the blessing that maybe has been in disguise this entire time. But also, you know, this is definitely marking a period of sudden endings and sudden beginnings as well. It's activating and triggering what's been coming into fruition and trying to, what universe has been trying to realign us with over this past 2 years. Faded endings, faded beginnings happening in shocking and sudden ways, and a huge desire or urge to break free from limitations that have been keeping us out of our personal truth specifically. We might really be like feeling very called to do something radically new and different right now that really like upsets our norms, upsets like our traditions or our traditional status quo, like the normal flow of our lives and our circumstances. We may just be coming to a point right now where we're like, I can't take this anymore. I need a change. I need something different. I'm going to do something different. And if that requires me becoming an entirely different person in order to make that process happen, like, hey, I'm here for it. Sign me up. You know what I mean? Like that is sort of just the vibe. Also, what's interesting about the way that this lineup is coming into fruition today is the sun is in its home sign of Leo. The sun rules the sign of Leo. Leo is the only sign that is ruled by the sun, and the sun is very, very strong and powerful, obviously, in the sign of Leo. And it's all about the heart at the end of the day. The sun is what is setting off this transit. It's the sun that is coming into this square with Uranus and the North Node and the South Node and the opposition to Saturn. It's the sun that is doing this, and it's the sun in Leo in its strongest power, in its brightest light, in its most like powerful influence, right? And again, it's ruling the heart. Leo rules like yes, Venus rules relationships and relationship dynamics and how we relate and get on with other people, but the real true love, like that's the Leo vibe. Like the romance, like the heart-based love, that comes from Leo. That comes from the 5th house. That comes from the heart, and it's very much to do also with the inner child and, you know, how we get sort of like lit up inside by the things that really truly bring us love and joy and like a sense of real true internal happiness and feeling alive. That's what this whole experience is ultimately about, the need to truly feel alive again. That's what I say. I'm talking about rebirth all the time, but this is like we're coming back to life. We want to experience fun and joy and be able to express this more pure and childlike version of ourselves that we may have become or gotten so far away from. And then we're sitting here and we're like, why am I so depressed? Like, why can't I make anything happen for myself? Like, why do I feel like I've lost all these opportunities? I am so sorry about these trucks outside. Why do I feel like I'm just letting my dreams like evaporate in front of me, and I have this void inside of me and I feel like I can never fill it up? Well, it's because a lot of times we've gotten so far off the path and off the course of who we truly are and who we were meant to be, and we've just bent ourselves backwards and folded ourselves into these boxes to match society's views or expectations or our family or our friends or our coworkers or like whatever, you know, peer social group we align ourselves with or associate with. And it's just so like we're waking up and we're like, this is so foreign to who I truly am. Like, no wonder I'm not happy. No wonder I don't enjoy like my life and my experiences, and even the things that are supposed to be pleasurable are like, I just don't feel alive inside about. And that's what this is trying to restore. That's what this is all about at the end of the day. This whole process is about universe lighting that spark inside each and every one of us so that we can get back in alignment with that authentic truth. Universe wants us to activate Sorry, guys. Universe wants us to activate our destiny right now. Universe wants us to rise into our highest potential. And it's because, when we are operating from our highest octave, from our highest potential, like there is something special in all of us. Like there is something very vital and very critical and very crucial and very significant to the overall well-being of the entire human collective that is present and existing within each and every one of us. And if that light never gets turned on, if that spark never gets ignited, if that gift never gets cultivated and developed, then there's like a whole universal divine plan that doesn't unfold because of everyone and everything that would have been affected by that light, by that gift, had it been developed, had it been cultivated, had it been like available to be served. And as a result of that, when we are living a life that is in alignment with our truth and with our purpose, that is when we are able to attract, receive, and experience the greatest forms of fulfillment, the greatest forms of joy, really truly feeling purpose and feeling alive in our life. Like that is what brings that experience. Like it's not, we can't mask it with symptoms anymore, or we can't mask the symptoms anymore, I guess is what this is sort of boiling down to. Like we are getting to the root of it. And if we want to make the change, like if we want to experience something different, like it's up to us at this point in time to pull ourselves out of it and to find that within ourselves and to surrender to the changes that universe is trying to help us with at this point in time, because God, universe is leading us in the direction to what can bring us our greatest sense of like joy and fulfillment and happiness. And even look at it, you guys, we're even doing this in a year numerologically that is so rare. It's 2022. It's a 222 year. Like that sequence of numbers, 3 2s, that's all about divine union and soul fulfillment and like true like balance and harmony internally and on an emotional level. And that is what this year, as we are transitioning into the age of Aquarius with all of this Uranus energy, which is also the great fixer, the great rectifier, the great awakener, the great liberator, it's all heading in that direction. Like that is the game plan. That is the like agenda right now. And that's pretty much probably the only plan that is going according to plan with all of this Uranus energy in effect. So it's time for us, like generally in this energy, I feel like to free ourselves or to allow ourselves to be reborn from the pain and from the trauma and from the unauthentic expressions of ourselves that we may have been identifying with up until this point in time. It's time to really recreate a new version of ourselves that is a reflection of who we really are, so that we can start living a life that is supportive of and provides what we really need to feel genuinely happy. Okay, that's really what this is all about. I feel like bringing us back to life in some surprising ways that may be transpiring as this energy plays out and these things sort of come back into context. But again, there's this dimension of these sudden endings and these breakdowns that are going on alongside this as well. And we have to remember with Saturn there, this is not exact, but with Saturn there, I mean, it's definitely close enough that that square between Uranus and Saturn is still being impacted or is still being affected, triggered, and the opposition. It's close enough that it's definitely doing something. And there may be also, it's not like all butterflies and like sparkles. Uranus, you guys, is a very difficult energy. Yes, Uranus is always taking us in the right direction. Uranus is always putting things right and awakening us things and bringing blessings in disguise. But a lot of times it happens in really scary, turbulent, uncomfortable, unsettling, chaotic ways. And with Saturn there as well, like there may be some fierce opposition that is standing in our way right now or working against us or blocking our path in some way. But the thing is, it's also not going to stop this internalized shift that's happening, this internalized awakening that's happening. Remember, we have all these retrograde planets right now as well. Saturn is retrograde. We are really restructuring the inner framework of like our internal reality, our internal world. And we have Uranus retrograde right now as well. And this is reawakening us to that truth of our authentic potential. This is giving us an opportunity to really get like really real with ourselves. And these planets coming into the square in their retrograde, it's like, yes, Saturn does represent resistance and these squares, this tension, this conflict, this obstruction, but simultaneously there is this like organic internalized shift that is taking place that is it has to be reflected externally. It won't stop. Like whatever resistance is going on right now that we are facing in our physical 3D world, right? Saturn, Earth, grounded material manifestation, 3D, whatever is blocking our path right now, it's not stopping the internalized retrograde energy shifts and the awakening that are spontaneously happening, and therefore then being reflected in sudden changes and realignments externally. That's the thing. A lot of these sudden changes and realignments and things that are happening to us, it's not that they're necessarily happening to us. Well, they are happening to us, but they're happening to us as a reflection of things that have changed within us, and therefore a shift in our energy pattern, and therefore a shift in what we are magnetizing and attracting to us in some of these radical ways. And that is what is bringing in this radical realignment. Now with this Uranus energy, things are probably very high speed right now, happening out of nowhere. Synchronicity though as well. Synchronicities could be going like running very strong right now. Feeling of divine timing or divine alignment might be coming through in some really crazy, like mind-blowing ways as well. But there is definitely an energy that is also testing our patience, testing our endurance, testing our commitment, testing our resolve about, you know, the changes that we're making right now, and whether or not we are really truly ready and prepared to head in that new direction. But this is the type of energy where like something might happen or something might transpire, like our life might be going one way and then something happens and we wake up the next morning and all of a sudden as a result of that, like our life is totally different. Like we are headed in a totally new direction, waking up in a totally different world from one day to the next because of what just happened or what just transpired. This is you know, a dimension of what we may be dealing with and what we may be experiencing as well. Now, the last thing that I want to say about this energy today, about this chart today, is it's funny because we also synchronistically, spontaneously, coincidentally or not, have the moon also transiting both the signs ruled by Saturn and Uranus today, while they are facing off in this T-square, or this grand cross, that we have going on. The moon is leaving Capricorn today, moving into Aquarius. The moon will also therefore be forming a conjunction to Pluto in the end of Capricorn. And again, this is breaking down. This is also the breaking down and dissolving a lot of the limitations and the rules or regulations or like the red tape or the restrictions or just the self-imposed limitations or things that have been holding us back in the past. Like the moon hitting Pluto today in the sign of Capricorn with Saturn in the square is also working to sort of like bring down that tower in a lot of ways, a feature of this energy. So we're also talking about the Lord of the Underworld aspect to the moon today. And it's funny also because then remember, I mean, Pluto rules the underworld, but we're talking about the sun and Leo simultaneously, which is setting off this grand cross today, this square to Uranus, in the most powerful energy that is ruling the light and the like human spirit, like truly in its like full glowing potential. So I find that to be interesting as well. It's like, yes, like we may be dealing with and maneuvering and navigating some setbacks right now, but also this is the unraveling of the old world, and we are about to be heading in a radically new direction. Things are going to change, you guys. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but there's about to be, you know, things are already changing. A lot of these changes, again, with all these retrograde planets right now are happening under the surface, but they are bound to be reflected in our 3D reality coming up here in not too much time, I have a feeling. Let's talk about the Sabian symbols for a minute, and then we'll get into the tarot message of today that went along with all of this as well. Sabian symbols are also telling an interesting story in the context of all this other energy. First of all, we have the sun today moving to 19 degrees of Leo. That Sabian symbol is a houseboat party. So to me, I've been reading this in the context of all this. I'm like, okay, so we are like literally all like together celebrating our departure, celebrating our departure from the past, heading in a new direction. Very celebratory way, very reflective of this Leo vibe, this Leo energy. And therefore we have the earth today always in a polar opposition to the sun at 19 degrees of Aquarius. That Sabian symbol is a forest fire quenched. And so not only are we, you know, on a houseboat party, sort of all enjoying life, heading off in this new direction together in a positive like experience, but there's a sense of relief too. Or it's more like, I feel like it's sort of like the worst is behind us. Like, yes, there's a lot that is going to play out. There's a lot that still needs to play out. Like, there's a lot of probably challenging times ahead. But in terms of the progress that we've made internally in our own personal and collective awakenings, I feel like sort of like the worst of this is behind us, because I'm sure you guys know, when you're going through a spiritual awakening or a conscious awakening, it is not how you might think about it or read about it or perceive it to be. It's a lot of times like really like not fun and not comfortable and like really difficult and challenging experience, like a dark night of the soul, you know what I mean? So I feel like the forest fire is quenched, like the fire is put out, like we're bringing down the level of heat, like the worst is behind us, I do feel at this point in time. Then we also, of course, have Uranus and the North Node together at 19 degrees of Taurus. A new continent is rising out of the ocean. So, we are on a houseboat party. Where are we moving towards? We are going towards, on our little houseboat, towards this new continent that is rising out of the ocean, that to me is reflecting and representing and symbolic of a new world, a new reality, a new experience of life that is emerging from the ashes of the fire, or, out of the ocean, out of the previous paradigm, out of the age of Pisces, this watery ocean paradigm from which we are transitioning out of now. So I feel like all of those symbols are kind of fitting together pretty well, describing what it is that we are, what the transits are saying. And then we have, what else do we need to talk about? We need to talk about also the position of the South Node right now at 19 degrees of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is a parrot listening and then talking, repeats a conversation that he has overheard. To me, this is about a lot of things. There could be a lot of information that we are hearing, that we are learning about, that is really blowing our mind. But on another level, this listening and talking repeats a conversation that he's overheard. I feel like this is also talking about like subconscious programming and like learned or ingrained mindsets or mental loops or self-talk that we are releasing, the South Node, moving away from, like escaping from, like detaching ourselves from, as a part of this process of us heading towards this new world that is emerging from our past paradigm at this point in time. We also have Saturn at 23 degrees of Aquarius. This Sabian symbol is a big bear sitting down, waving all of his paws. So there is an aspect of whatever is playing out that is probably fiercely defensive, either in terms of something standing against us or something that we are feeling fiercely defensive of, or defending and protecting, something that we feel is like very valuable to us. Another Sabian symbol that I wanted to read today also is the position of Venus, because she's ruling the sign of Taurus right now, where we currently have, of course, Uranus and the North Node in conjunction. And that Sabian symbol is a Greek muse weighing newborn twins in golden scales. Venus is at 29 Cancer. And so ultimately also, I feel like this whole thing has a lot to do with us being at a point right now where we may also be sort of weighing some valuable, important choices, options, decisions, and this is likely to do with like the trajectory of things moving forward in the context of this radical realignment or radical awakening, or really just like sudden changes that are happening for us, and like what that might mean for the trajectory of things or our plans that we had moving forward at this point in time. So I feel like the Sabians today are also giving us some really strong indications sort of about the context of this energy. There is a grand rectification underway right now. Things are being put right. The forest fire is being quenched. We are heading in a new direction towards a newly emerging world that is in much greater authentic alignment with our ability to experience life in a way that really makes us thrive and really actually brings us back to life in a lot of ways. With this Sun Leo that is setting all of this off, I really feel like the whole underlying point and purpose of what is playing out right now is to bring us back to life from whatever dark night of the soul or difficulty or just hardships that we may have been experiencing, specifically over the course of the past 2 years as well. And again, I do feel like we are going to start to see some things to start making maybe a little bit more sense to us in the context of what has been playing out over this past period of time. So That'll be really, really interesting. Let's talk about the tarot for a second. We got a pretty short message today, but it is very clear to me, I feel like, in the way that this message is coming out. The first card that we had coming out of the deck this morning was the Seven of Wands in reverse. And then we had the King of Cups in reverse. And then we had the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. And then we had, on the back of the deck, the Eight of Wands in reverse, followed by, the Empress. Followed by, actually, Strength and Death in reverse. So we need to have the strength to go through the changes that are going through right now, you guys, but they are leading to a sense of ultimate fulfillment. I will say that to sort of start the reading. But ultimately, what this is all sort of boiling down to me today when I'm looking at this is really like short and to the point. We are finally getting what we want and haven't had or thought possible for ourselves, and we need to be open to receive it. This is going to require some type of death and rebirth, essentially, as we recreate ourselves. And I don't mean like physically, you know what I mean? Like, it's like an ego death that we may be going through right now, and we may be surrendering the past versions of ourselves, but that process is actually going to quickly move us towards opening to attract and receive that which truly is an authentic alignment with us. But it's also requiring some courage and some strength. We have to be willing to take a risk, you guys. We have to be willing to take a leap of faith. Like, that is what this is about. Like, we have to be able to trust God. We have to be able to trust universe. We have to be able to align with love and let go of negative feelings that we hold within us, you know, betrayal, resentment, anger, hostility, hatred for the things that maybe have been done to us. We need to surrender to the changes that are happening now and be grateful for every thing that we have navigated that has brought us to this point in our journey and has made us who we are now. And we need to not hold it against people anymore. We need to take, you know, the good with the bad and be able to let go and to forgive and to move on, not for those specific people, but for ourselves, like for our own personal growth. And so that we can free ourselves and liberate ourselves of those burdens to be able to open to receive what we truly deserve and what is truly ours and always has been through divine mind. So breaking down these cards a little bit, this to me, Seven of Wands in reverse, it's like, we may have always thought that like we couldn't do it, like that it was too hard, like that it was too much of an effort, like that we didn't have enough, just something within us to be able to get what we truly want, to be able to, you know, satisfy ourselves in a way that makes us feel like emotionally whole and emotionally self-empowered and really truly fulfilled on an emotional level and also on a physical level. You know, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, like on a material abundance, family, just like across the board type of level. Like, we may have felt or have come to a point of feeling or have learned to feel like we just are never going to have it. Like, we're just never going to be able to have both. Like, we're never going to be able to have the emotional like relationship love experiences that we want, and simultaneously also the material physical 3D abundance and comfort and experience and pleasure that we want as well. Like, we may have, you know, felt like we were just asking for too much, or like what we truly want or what we truly need, like we would need to sacrifice something because we just couldn't have it both. Like, we couldn't have our cake and eat it too. Like, we may have come to that type of realization, but this energy is saying no. Like, this energy is saying, actually, if we can have strength and courage to go through the transformations necessary, like, and be open and receptive to the changes that are happening and to surrender, there are some quick things, some quick actions, some quick changes that are transpiring right now that are likely to change that scenario around for us and actually bring us what really truly makes us feel the Empress, like absolutely in our sense of emotional and material abundance and fulfillment. Like, she's got it all, right? She's got the material and she's also got the emotional. And so I feel like we shouldn't, this is all leading somewhere, you guys. Everything we've been through has not been for nothing. And we can't give up hope at this point in time. I feel like that's the message ultimately of these cards with the Seven of Wands in reverse as well. Like, we can't give up hope. We can't quit. We can't let the fire die out. Like, we can't surrender our passion and our desire for what will truly make us feel whole, okay? What will truly make us feel alive? Because that, again, and this is, it's funny that this card is there too. Like, this is the Strength card. This card also represents Leo and the Lion. So that's basically in a nutshell what I feel like the message is saying today, that we just have to have hope. We can't give up hope, and we have to have strength, and we have to be willing to go through a really big transformation. But ultimately, it is leading somewhere that is really going to give us what we, may have given up hope on. So we shouldn't give up hope. Let's grab one more card, you guys. Now we're going to get a synchronicity card. There it is. It just went flying out of the deck. Let's see what it says. Okay, and this makes sense, you guys, and everything that I've been saying. What does Uranus represent? Radical authenticity, radical honesty, radical truth. And this card says seek the truth. That is our message from God today to help us as we are navigating whatever may be unfolding. It says, seek the truth. God divideth the light from the darkness. Genesis 1:4. Are you sure you know what is true and what is false about the situation? Just because you do not see results yet doesn't mean that the answer is not on its way to you now. Remember, everything in the world must move over just a bit before your wish can come true. Know that God is working on it now. The power of God is working in and through you and will triumph. Do not judge by appearances. You cannot see everything that's happening. And yet again, this card to me is perfectly summarizing the message that I was trying to describe throughout the course of this video. So that is what we have today, you guys. Seek the truth and don't give up faith. Don't give up hope. Like I was saying, I feel like we are going to start seeing some progress, seeing where this was all heading. It just may not be fully integrated into our 3D experience yet, but the reality is going to start reflecting the internal changes sooner than later. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like this type of content and be interested in this too. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. Sorry. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. I really, truly appreciate your feedback. I'm so happy to hear from all of you. Thank you guys so much for being here again. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social media stuff. Those are in my description box below. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. We're gonna have a full moon in Aquarius to talk about, which is going to be taking today and just boosting it up to another level. So we'll have that to chat about as well. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then, everybody. Have a beautiful day. And until tomorrow, bye guys.